So this probably doesn't come as a surprise to you. The American schooling system just is a proving ground for this type of behavior to just boil up and fester with little to no repercussions. But all throughout my schooling, I have been bullied for a variety of different things, all the way from elementary school up through high school, whether it was my weight, my facial appearance, my hair, my last name. I was bullied for it pretty heavily too, to the point where I did have some very, very dark thoughts and thought about doing some very dark things to myself. Try as they may, they could not keep me down. And here I am. So yeah, as a surprise to no one, I am overweight and have been pretty much my entire life. The furthest back I can remember being bullied for my weight was maybe 8 or 9 years old in like 3rd or 4th grade, I think, somewhere around there. That particular ridicule got me to a point where for the longest time, up until adulthood, I could not go swimming without a shirt on. I felt embarrassed because I unfortunately do have, well, I'm not a man, not a woman either, but I do have pretty prominent pectorals, I guess, for lack of a better term. I did used to call them man boobs when I thought I was a cisgender man, but I'm not. So for the longest time, I do have pretty prominent breasts, and my stomach just does unfortunately hang out there. I never felt weird about my legs, because my thighs are quite large, and my arm fat also is quite flabby, kind of looks like wings if I give it a little jiggle. But it was mostly my torso that I felt really self-conscious about. Once I hit middle school, I would always wear either hoodies or button-up shirts or jackets or what have you to just cover up my fatness. I didn't realize until 5 years ago that that's something called body dysmorphia, and I still get dysmorphic from time to time, but it's not as prevalent as it was when I was in school. In middle school, people started bullying me for my last name, and for those who don't know, my last name is Bird, like the animal, B-I-R-D. So occasionally I would just be walking down the hallway in middle school trying to get to my locker. You would just have these group of people, and it's always the classic, it's always the jock douchebags doing this. Occasionally they would just walk by and just go like tweet 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 or whistle at me like a bird, like I was actually a bird. That one also ticked me off because I knew exactly what they were doing. They were mocking me, and I didn't handle it very well. So I've had some outbursts, some shouting matches. One of the guys that was bullying me the most about my last name, his last name was Seymour, and someone told me a Seymour was a fish. So I was trying to do the same thing back, like doing like fish noises, like a glub 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 or like gills or whatever at him, and that didn't work at all. It just made me look even more foolish than I already looked. The one bullying point that stuck with me longer than the other two is my hair. My hair is naturally oily. Okay? It just is. I can't control that. That's just genetics. So when people started like really getting on me for my hair being oily, it ate away at me to the point where for a solid, I don't know, I want to say like 10 to 12 years straight, every single day, I was shampooing my hair and conditioning my hair, which I don't know if you knew this. I didn't know this until I was in my 20s. You're not supposed to wash your hair every day with shampoo and conditioner. That's actually really, really bad for your hair and can damage it beyond repair. So I'm not kidding. It's from like day 1 of 6th grade all the way up through graduation, and like 5 years after graduation, every single day I was in the shower washing my hair. Because I didn't know, nobody told me. And even then, with all the washing that I did, people would still make fun of me for having oily hair. There was one insult I remember, and it was probably the most original insult out of all of them that I heard. Someone said they could grease their car with the oil from my hair in the cafeteria once. And I think I threw an apple at him from across the cafeteria. I can't remember if I did that or not. My ADHD makes me misremember things constantly, so I probably didn't. I wasn't really ever a violent kid. I mean, I've had outbursts here and there, but just generally speaking, I never really got into fights. I've been into maybe 3. None of them were ever like serious, you need to pull these kids apart. It was mostly just me throwing like one punch, and that was it. But yeah, thankfully nowadays, I don't wash my hair every single day. I shower every day. I rinse everything every day. But as far as like shampoo and conditioner goes, I do that maybe once every 3 to 5 days, depending on the week. Speaking of fights, this didn't happen in school, but the one fight that I've been in outside of school was, there was this kid who lived in my neighborhood. His name was Joey. I'm not going to give any last names. He would just occasionally come by and antagonize me if I was outside, like playing basketball or riding my bike, or attempting to skateboard, because back then I was super into Tony Hawk Pro Skater and I was trying to become a skateboarder. That didn't go well. I can't balance on a board worth of shit. See, he would just come by. He would have like fake lightsabers and just smack me with them occasionally. And then we'd get into verbal shouting matches. There were a couple of times where he threatened to, you know, an act of violence, and then I would run away crying because I'm a little baby bitch. But one time he and one of his buddies, I can't remember the other guy's name, but they sort of cornered me up against a tree, right? And I told them, I was like, if you guys don't stop, I'm going to hit you. And then Joey just like leaned across his bicycle handlebars and was just like, do it. Do it, you won't, pussy, you won't do anything. So I backhanded him and busted his lip open. I wish that was the end of it, but I immediately booked it for my house. He tackles me in my front yard and starts pounding on the back of my head. I tried to punch him in the nuts because I was underneath him and he was like crouched over me. So I was just like this, trying to hit him in the balls to get him to stop. And I mean, eventually my dad came out, yelled at him, he ran. I didn't know, but apparently his mom was across the street watching this go down and she didn't step in to fucking do anything. In fact, she called the cops on me because she said I was the one who started it. I gave all the information I could to the cops because I'm like 10 and, you know, I didn't know ACAB back then because, you know, we're juveniles. There's not really a restraining order or anything. I don't know how the legal process goes for stuff like this. They basically told him he has to stay at least 50 feet away from me at all times, which got him to stop, kind of. I mean, he would still just come by and call me a fat ass and stuff like that. But we've never got physical again after that. And that was the one and only time I've been in an actual like physical altercation to that magnitude. Everything else, like I stated earlier, was just like I threw a punch and then nothing happened. The other thing that I got bullied a ton for is smelling like cigarettes or marijuana. Now, I'm kind of proud of this fact. I'm 30 years old. I've never smoked anything, ever. I vaped once, but it was like a caffeine vape, so it doesn't even count. But I've never smoked a cigarette, never smoked a cigar, cigarillo, I've never smoked marijuana, anything like that. In fact, I used to be like militantly straight edge, and I've loosened up on that over the years. I don't care. You want to drink or smoke or whatever, I don't give a shit. But throughout my entire life, I grew up and have been around people who smoke almost all of the time. And because of that, a lot of my personal belongings and clothing smelled like cigarettes. And it would be the worst. I would be the first one into the classroom before the bell rang, and then someone else would come in. There's this one girl, can't remember her name. She would always walk in. She'd be the second person into the classroom and she would just go, "Smells like cigarettes in here." And I just have to kind of just like turtle behind my backpack and not draw attention to myself because I was terrified of being perceived. And I knew that she was talking about me because I was the only other person in the classroom. And as far as the marijuana goes, the only time that I've been like pulled aside for smelling like weed is I was taking a culinary class in high school, and the head chef pulled me into his office and he was like, "Hey, some of the other students have been telling me that you smell like weed. Are you having problems at home? Do you have weed on you?" And I'm just like, "What? No," because at that time I didn't know my parents smoked pot. So I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" But yeah, I just wanted to talk about my experience with being bullied. I didn't really want to get into the weight and appearance stuff because honestly it's not that interesting. It's just the normal like badass fat boy, tits, jugs, jelly roll. It's just that kind of shit that I feel like every overweight person has to endure throughout their childhood, unfortunately. There's actually one major thing that I left out of this video for good reason, because it's gonna be its own video. It's that big of an instance of me getting bullied. Super hardcore. So be on the lookout for that. Because again, the school system does absolutely nothing to curb this kind of behavior. despite how many anti-bullying fucking pep rallies they want to put on, or fundraisers to end bullying or whatever. It doesn't work. You can't end bullying, unfortunately, and that sucks. I don't like that we can say that, but that's the ropes. Anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this one, please consider subscribing. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.